Well, this is a bit awkward. Why is it awkward, you ask? Well, if you're new here, then you may or may not know that I've been kind of hard on Nissan in the past.
Kind of like the Nissan Frontier has its own unique identity for being trash.
By crap like the Nissan Pathfinder.
Okay, to be honest with you, I've been really hard on Nissan in the past, and it hasn't been without cause. I mean, to be quite honest, they've let themselves sort of backslide into mediocrity for about the past 15 years or so. But now they're claiming that they've turned over a new leaf. See what I did there? And cars like this new Sentra are apparently evidence of that. So that is what we're here to find out. What's going on, everyone? Jax here, and today I have the all-new 2020 Nissan Sentra. And I promise for this entire review, I will not call a single Nissan trash. Right off the bat, the first thing you notice about this new Sentra is its exterior styling. While the old Sentra was a bit of a fugly potato, this new Sentra is downright sexy looking in this sort of angular creased sheet metal that Nissan's doing on a lot of its newer cars. I love the dark gray and black roof color combo that we're getting here, and I especially like the black roof because it hides that stupid black strip of plastic that Nissan puts on their cars to pretend that they have a floating roof. But the gray and the black color combo looks really good. In fact, I would argue that from a purely design standpoint, the Sentra is as good as anything else in the class, if not better. Think about it, seriously. The Toyota Corolla? Nope. The Honda Civic? Overstyled. The Volkswagen Jetta? The automotive equivalent of the color mauve. The new Hyundai Elantra? Oh, good God, kill that thing with fire immediately. Who would have guessed only a few short years ago that the Nissan Sentra would be one of the style leaders in the segment? Really second only to the Mazda 3. The LED headlights, part of the premium package, look great. And the puddle lights that illuminate along the sills thanks to the lighting package add a really nice upscale touch. The 18-inch wheels and low-profile tires look appropriately aggressive, although they might be overselling things just a bit. It's a really well-executed design that might be enough to lure some buyers away from a number of its competitors. Ugh, seriously, don't show that again. If you show that image in combination with like a Nickelback song, then YouTube would like demonetize this video for being obscene.
Look at this photograph.
God, oh my God.
Don't look right, keep your eyes shut.
Unfortunately, the powertrain can't quite back up the Sentra's sense of style. The Sentra is motivated by a 2-liter 4-cylinder, making 149 horsepower and like 141 pound-feet of torque. It's barely adequate, and it's running through what Nissan calls an Xtronic CVT transmission. The CVT isn't bad, to be honest with you. It has simulated ratios, and it behaves in an otherwise inoffensive manner. But the engine just isn't really powerful enough when compared to some of the Sentra's competitors, or at least it doesn't feel that way. And it gets a bit coarse and thrashy at higher RPMs, which you will be there a lot because you have to bury your foot and the CVT sends the RPMs way up high as it tries to scrape together a leftover plate of torque to get you moving. While potent powertrains are not exactly the standard in this class of vehicle. The Civic Si, the Subaru WRX, the Jetta GLI, and the upcoming Mazda 3 Turbo are all much faster and more expensive. One upside to this powertrain combo is that it returns pretty good fuel economy, getting 28 miles to the gallon in the city and 37 miles per gallon on the highway. In stop and go, very short trips kind of traffic, which I drove it during the week, It averaged around 30 miles to the gallon, so pretty good. I only kind of caned it for the driving video just to sort of prove the power deficiency, but from a fuel economy standpoint, the Sentra's pretty darn good. If you're expecting a sports sedan, then you're gonna be disappointed. But if you're expecting a really competent daily driver, there's a lot to like here. Let me show you. Alright, so here we are behind the wheel of the Nissan Sentra SR, which sounds sporty, but it's really not. SR is just a trim. And one of the first things that I noticed right away driving this car is how well controlled the body motions are. The suspension damping is generally pretty excellent. It's comfortable. It's not trying to be overly sporty, but it's very well controlled. I just got out of the Mazda CX-30 and into this, and I was surprised by how close the Nissan was to the Mazda in terms of body control. They're not quite there, but this is definitely more of a compliant ride anyway. It's not trying to be as sporty as the Mazda, so I'm impressed. I'm impressed by how well controlled the ride is in this Sentra SR. We're about to turn on to the handling road, and I've had the Sentra up and down this road a couple of times, and it's pretty impressive how well it's able to cope with the awful quality of this road texture, especially the big right-hand bump that hits the front corner. One of the things this road does a good job at sort of sorting out is here at the beginning, there's some really rough texture, and it causes some cars to be either overly brittle if they're very sporty or overly bouncy if they're too soft. And the Sentra going over this part is doing a really good job of controlling the motions of the body. It's giving you a nice cushy, compliant initial hit around the sharp curve here. Minimal body roll, not bad. But then it irons everything back out in a really impressive way. This is a very comfortable car to drive every day. Like I said, it's not trying to be sporty, but Nissan has definitely upped the game, or upped their game in terms of suspension tuning. This is a lot closer to a Mazda and a Honda than it ever was before. The nasty bump is coming up, following this Mercedes in front of me. Wonder how well that car handles it. That was it. That was all there was to it. Not bad at all. Well done, Nissan. The Mercedes in front of me crashed into a tree. I'm just kidding, that didn't happen. Another area that I would commend the Sentra on is its steering. The steering is pretty accurate. It's quick off center. It weights up a little strangely. It doesn't feel as natural as the steering in a Mazda does, but it's pretty accurate and it's not sloppy. It's pretty tight. You go back and forth, you get an equivalent amount of steering input. I like that. I like that it's pretty accurate. I don't mind that the wheel looks pretty cool. I know it's silly to have a flat bottom wheel in a car like a Sentra, but hey, it looks cool and it's got great hand grips. I'm enjoying the wheel. I don't mind the strange action as it weights up. I mean, this is meant to be a daily driver. This isn't like, you know, a hotted up, hot hatch version of a car or something like that, or a hot sedan version of a car. The throttle and the brake action are similarly functional. They don't bother you in day-to-day driving. The brake's a little mushy. It is linear, like it's progressive in a way it like brings the car to a stop, but the feel is kind of mushy. It feels a little spongy. It doesn't quite have the firmness that you'd want from maybe a little bit sportier of a setup. And the throttle's a little numb, meaning you kind of got to get into it. Some of that's due to the CVT, I'm sure. Nissan sticks with CVTs. This isn't a bad one. It has fake gear ratios, which I appreciate in a CVT, but it's made it to kind of a gutless engine and it can get a little thrashy at high RPMs. So it's really more of the engine that's kind of the weak spot. The transmission's not really bad at all, but when you put your foot down, it gets a little thrashy. It's not particularly nice to listen to, and it definitely, at 140-ish pound-feet of torque, is not motivating the car with any sort of like gusto. This does not have a high revving engine, doesn't have a turbocharged engine. There's nothing really characterful about this four-cylinder engine, except that it gets pretty good gas mileage. That's a thing that the engine does. Also, it should be pointed out that this is a roomy car. Like, I've got a ton of space. The steering wheel comes out nice and far. The back seat space is really good for the class. Even the trunk is pretty large in this thing. So I'm impressed by the amount of space that they engineered into this Sentra to kind of differentiate it from the redesigned Versa, which is itself an infinitely better car than the one that it replaces. So this Sentra is good not only for commuter daily driver duty, but like if you also have other people that go with you, an actual adult could fit in the back seat. Now, speaking of seats, I don't love the driver's seat in the Sentra. It's comfortable. The cushions are cushy, but it doesn't have a ton of thigh support for someone as tall as me. The seat bottom is a little flat. The materials are nice, but it just doesn't feel especially snug. I like a little bit sportier of a seat, even though we're not pretending to be sporty in this car. I would appreciate if the seat was a little bit firmer, a little bit snugger. But snugger, is that, it's snugger or more snug? Or snugly?
It's me, Snuggle.
That's weird, and I'm not sure. But I can sort of forgive that, considering that's not really the Sentra's MO. It's not really meant to be sporty. It's certainly not uncomfortable. So overall, the sort of defining characteristic of the Sentra is that it is quite pleasant to drive. It is comfortable. All of the sort of driver inputs do what you expect them to do, and even as an enthusiast, you could be satisfied driving this car. Let's say that you didn't want to drive something like a Honda Civic Si every day. Now that's what I would probably choose, but then again, I don't have a very long commute to the high school. It only takes me about 10 minutes to get there. So driving a, Revy manual with a turbo, that's fine for everyday driving. But this, if you had like a longer commute, especially considering the Sentra's extensive list of options, this would be a very compelling alternative to sort of the class-leading Civic, a moderately priced Mazda 3, Toyota Corolla. Well done, Nissan. Well done. Making me eat my words here in a Jack's review. Flooring it in the Nissan Sentra, ready, go. A lot of sound, a lot of fury. That's 60 miles an hour. Whew, man. Yeah, this isn't for the adrenaline junkie. Measure the 0 to 60 time in epochs. I don't even know what an epoch is exactly, but it's a long time. It's like a million years or something like that. And let's talk about this interior, because there's a lot to like in here. The overarching design is functional. There's not a lot of style for the sake of style. The materials are class competitive, with soft touch plastics all over the upper doors and dash, cushy elbow pads on the center console and the doors, as well as sort of minimal, tasteful brightwork, fake brightwork, which is a good thing. The fake leather on the seats is nice, and the graining of most of the plastics is pleasant, if not even a bit upscale. But it's the features and the amenities that really set this Sentra apart for only 25 grand. Thanks to the premium package, which costs just over a very reasonable $2,000, you get heated seats, a heated steering wheel, an 8-speaker Bose sound system, and a surround view camera. When you throw in the even more reasonably priced lighting package at just $500, you get interior ambient lighting, as well as the aforementioned puddle lights that come out of the door sills, which is a really nice touch. It's a very upscale kind of look in an affordable small car. So the end result is a small car in an affordable class that's really punching above its weight. And while it is sort of a cliche, the flat bottom steering wheel looks cool, and it does offer you a little bit more space for your legs, especially if you're taller like me. So it's appreciated. I like the way the wheel looks and it feels. So yeah, cliche or not, I dig it. There's honestly not much to dislike on the interior of this car. I don't really love the seats. The bottom cushion is a little bit flat. It doesn't really hold you in place very well. The seat cushions themselves are comfortable. They're soft, but they're just kind of shapeless, especially in the butt pad. So I don't love them. They're not the best. But then again, I'm freakishly tall, so take that with a grain of salt. Also noticed that I'm sitting in the car and the sun just came out, so yeah, it's gonna be a bit brighter now. The analog gauges are bright and clear, but they're just a little plain. There's not much going on there, but I'm okay with that if they're helping to contribute to the car's really low price. The infotainment is perfectly functional with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but 8-inch screens are just sort of adequate these days, and it also doesn't have any like wow features to really set it apart, but it does have most of what you want and it does it pretty well. It's certainly fine for the class, and it's far better than systems from, let's say, Honda, so there's that. So the Sentra makes a strong case for itself from a value standpoint, but it hasn't even played what I think is the biggest ace up its sleeve. This car is loaded to the gills with safety technology, possibly more than any other vehicle in its class, thanks to Nissan's Safety Shield 360, which is one of the most comprehensive safety systems on any affordable vehicle. This is a smart move on Nissan's part, attempting to win back customers with an incredible value proposition and a ton of standard features. Not to mention the car isn't ugly anymore. That helps. The Sentra has you covered from the front with collision warning and emergency braking with pedestrian detection. And it has you covered from the rear with rear cross traffic alert and the ability to brake the car while backing up. I had a few people pass by my driveway as I was backing out. The system works very well. In fact, it even saw people coming when I was like halfway down the driveway. So it has a pretty wide field of view. Very impressive. It has a slightly overly cautious, meaning somewhat obnoxious, lane departure warning system that vibrates the steering wheel to get your attention. I didn't mind all that much because it's pretty subtle, but it does seem to be a little twitchy in situations where I didn't think I was that close to the lines. You also get things like radar cruise control and the expected blind spot monitoring, which shows up on the A-pillars, which I personally like better than the mirrors because it's more in your line of sight. I've only seen this on Acuras and I really think it's the way to go. It has the expected rear view camera, and thanks to the premium package, it has a surround view camera, which is especially nice at the $25,000 price point. It is worth noting though that the resolution of these cameras is about the same as your Nokia phone from 2005, so there is a concession to be made for the price point, but it has them and you can see, so there you go. And the Sentra even keeps an eye on you with driver alertness monitoring, and it has rear door alerts to make sure that your passengers don't open their doors into oncoming traffic, which is a nice touch. And that's just the big stuff. The point is that for a car that starts at just over 19 grand, the Sentra has an enormous amount of standard safety technology. And even as equipped at 25 mid, this Sentra still represents a hell of a bargain. So should you buy a Nissan Sentra? Well, if you're looking for a competent daily driver that won't break the bank, comes with a ton of standard features for the price, isn't ugly, and doesn't look like a potato, then yes, you really should. I've had 4 small cars in a row, targeted to sort of 4 different aspects of the small car market. And to be honest with you, this Nissan Sentra is probably the one that would appeal to the most buyers. The Civic SI comes with a manual only and is definitely targeted more to enthusiasts. Now, at only $1,000 more than the Nissan Sentra, it's definitely the one that I would buy. However, I can totally see that such a car would not be for everyone. The Mazda CX-30 has peerless driving dynamics and impeccable interior quality and design, but as equipped, the one I tested costs $6,000 more than this Nissan Sentra. And then there's the Hyundai Venue that I tested recently, which is an absolute joke compared to this Nissan Sentra, to be quite honest with you. I mean, they practically start at the same price. Why would you choose something that looks like the Battletoads' forgotten sidekick as opposed to something that you'd actually want to be seen in? And I think that right there actually sums up this new Nissan Sentra. It's an affordable small car that you'd actually want to be seen in. It doesn't scream, I needed a new daily, but I lack a sense of style, self-esteem, and dignity. Not even in the slightest. It can proudly take its place among the Honda Civics and Toyota Corollas of the world, offering a compelling blend of style, substance, and safety, if not outright sportiness. Congratulations, Nissan Sentra. You've been upgraded to the cool kids' lunch table. That makeover you got really worked. And now that you're here, there's a Hyundai Elantra that's in serious need of some wedgies. Guys, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoy the sort of honesty and practicality I always try to bring to these videos. I know I've been hard on Nissan, and credit where credit is due. This is an excellent small car packed with a ton of value wrapped in a very stylish exterior. So if I'm sitting here telling you that this car is 100% worth it, I'm not ragging on Nissan, I'm not just saying it to be nice. This car really is that good. It's a massive leap forward over its previous iterations. And if you're looking for mainly value and safety wrapped in a pretty package, the Sentra might be exactly what you're looking for. So I hope you found this review useful, and I hope you'll tune in for future reviews. Be sure to like and subscribe. I really would appreciate it. And until next time, ride safe, drive safe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Person just sitting off to my left, their car idling obnoxiously. They had to park right next to me, like a shithead. A dog is barking. So, should you buy a Nissan Sentra? Jesus Christ, dog. Take your barking dog somewhere else.
No, but 8-inch screen. My gosh, what is that going by? Is that a MG? Oh man, it looks so tiny on the road compared to modern cars. Good Lord. Especially after that diesel F-250 goes by. It makes me fear for that guy's life, but kudos to you, restored MG driver. I mean, I'm assuming it was restored because it was bloody gorgeous. If you're talking about an MG, you have to say bloody gorgeous or something like that. You can't just say, it was awesome. Just say, oh, it was bloody gorgeous. That wasn't even like a real accent. It's bloody gorgeous, it is. It's bloody, oh, that MG is bloody gorgeous. An Irish person, would they drive an MG? I mean, I guess they'd have to, because Ireland doesn't make cars. It's a bloody gorgeous MG, it is. I'm a character from a Guy Ritchie movie. My name is Jax. Sort of works. Maybe. At least you know this car looks good from the outside, so people drive by, they don't pity you, like the old Sentra. Drive by someone in the old Sentra and they're like, did that guy lose a bet? At least when you pass a police officer like I just did, you don't have to worry about being pulled over for speeding, because you could legitimately say to him, no, officer, you're mistaken. I can't speed. Floor it again. Woo! Oh my gosh. It's like, why are you doing this to me? I've come so far, I've improved so much. Don't ask everything of me. I can't do it all, car reviewer.